I'm Chef Jasper, and today we're in the kitchen. I think this may be the French kitchen today. That's right. We're going all French with this dish, and you're going to absolutely love it. Chicken au vinaigre. That's right. It's made with vinegar, but the whole sauce is not vinegar, so don't worry about that. You're going to absolutely love it. It's not difficult. A few ingredients, but there's a lot of history, and we'll talk about that while we're preparing the dish. So let's get a little bit of olive oil in our pan. Heated skillet here. And of course, we're going to need a little bit of butter. Now, you know, I love mixing butter and olive oil together. And while the butter and of course the olive oil is kind of melting together, because it's going to be a great combination to saute this chicken in, we need to talk about some of the other vegetables that we have. Of course, we're going to do some shallots today and tomatoes. Now, this is a little bit different because we're going to saute the tomato after I cook the chicken. And I brought some turnips and parsnips in here. It's going to make a great dish. Now, let's get started with this. I'm not going to flour this or anything else. I've just already cut a whole chicken into pieces. And we're just going to place this right in the pan. I just took the wing tips off. And of course, I took on the legs, just the tips of those legs off. So everything looks nice and even right here. And of course, in the meantime, let's cut up a little bit of garlic. Now, I like the slices. And of course, not only with the slices, we will add some minced garlic to this. But the slices, it's almost like having a little slice of onion in there. We don't want to burn it at all. You know, we'll get some great flavor. And this one here, we'll just almost mince this one here into a bunch of little pieces. You can quarter it. It doesn't matter. I'm looking for a lot of flavor, but also I like to bite into the garlic while it's in the dish. I don't know. It's if you mince it all the way, and it's great. It gives it the same flavor, but I don't know. I'm just a little bit different with that when it comes to putting in the garlic. All right. As we finish this right here, of course, we have our shallots while this chicken is cooking. That should be about, I don't know, about 8 minutes on each side. We will see as it cooks along. I have it on medium-high heat right now. And of course, I love to cook with shallots. You can actually use white onions, no red onions for this dish. Although, Mir Guy, the gentleman who invented this dish, well, we don't know if he invented it, but the dish dates back to the 16th century. Of course, to France. Lyon, where some of the greatest French chefs came from. Paul Bocuse, one of the culinary icons, really made this dish more popular, I think, over the years. And of course, I love watching Jacques Pepin prepare this dish. It's one of his favorites. But I took it to another level. And of course, I added some vegetables. You can too. So I'm giving you the basis, you know, especially with the sauce and with the tomatoes. That's just almost like the beginning. And you see how I cut these shallots? Just a little. We don't want to mince them, but just little pieces just like that. And of course now, we'll put this all together because we're going to cook that at the same time. But the tomatoes, I love to just add little chunks of tomatoes and then watch it cook down. Because as we watch this cook down, what happens, it's going to give the sauce some great flavor, of course. But also, it begins really, not to puree, but really to begin, you know, some substance to our sauce. Now, while this is sitting there, let's put a little salt on top of this skin here. A little bit of cracked pepper. Not a lot. And then we'll wait to turn that over and, you know, like I said, another 5 minutes or so. All right, now let's just turn this chicken nice and golden. Of course, it's not cooked all the way. We're going to cook it on the other side. Plus, we're going to put it in the oven for about 30 minutes in a preheated 350, 375 degree oven. So let's just finish this chicken off here. In the meantime, the flavor of the dish right here. This is when it starts. Let's just scrape that chicken. Look at that. This is what I wish we had the smell-o-vision in this kitchen for you all right now. It's so simple. Olive oil and butter, but along with that chicken. Now, if we did put a little bit of flour on here, you would get a little crispier crust if you're looking for that. Of course, we're not talking about frying the chicken at all, but sauteing it that way. And you'll have a little more of the extras in the bottom of that pan with the flour, but that's up to you. The original recipe, of course, does not call for that. All right. That is just browning just perfect right now. Getting some nice color on there. In the meantime, this is a little trick here before we even add the garlic and, of course, the shallot and tomatoes. A little deglazing right now, just to infuse some flavor into this, because we have a little more vinegar to put in still, but there you go. And we're going to let that cook down, not lowering this heat at all. We want to keep that heat going right now. And oh my gosh, now we know. And you can even put the lid on at this point before we even add the garlic and the onion, and let that all get in there and start making all those flavors go wild. All right, let's take a peek right now. Oh yeah, it's reduced a lot. And of course, at this point, we're gonna add our garlic and shallots. And what I'm talking about, see, I don't have to worry about it really burning or browning. I don't want to brown these or overcook them at all. It's gonna give it some great flavor. Let's kind of mix that around there. Again, you can really start to smell that combination. It's all coming together. Let's turn this this chicken over at this point. Everything's coming together. And now we will add our tomatoes. Just what we want. Kind of put them off to the sides of the pan so we can, I don't want to put them on top, I want to cook them. But we still want some little bites of tomato in there. There we go, just like this right here. And we'll continue to let that cook down just a little bit. And while that's cooking, of course, I'm going to add a little bit of the red pepper right now. My tomato paste. And the tomato paste really will act as not only a thickening agent, but when I add more vinegar, and I always like to put this in the middle and kind of create a little sauce, but when I add more vinegar, I can actually almost make my sauce right in the middle there. You talk about a one skillet dish. This is it right here. You see how it's all coming together now? All right, let that work together and start working that magic there. A little more salt, of course. And now a little bit of chicken broth. We want this nice and juicy. We'll add our herbs here in just a minute, but in the meantime, we need to cut up some turnips and, of course, these parsnips. It's going to give it some great flavor and a little crunch, a little bite to the dish. Let's take a sneak peek at this and look at this. Just perfect right now. I want to add the honey to this. Yes, a little bit of honey. I don't know. The honey just does something to it. And I like it. Of course, let's just cut these up, and it's really up to you how you want to cut them. Of course, I'll leave these pieces whole right here. Put them right in that sauce. And they're going to start cooking down. The turnips, I'm not kidding, I leave the peeling on my turnips. But you can actually fool some people if you peel those, and it's going to look like you have potatoes in there. So it's also good for a thickening agent, but it's going to add some flavor, a little bite to the dish, and that's what we want. But like I said, it's not the original recipe, but I think it's a great addition. All right, it's up to you how much you want to add. Let's mix that all around. Oh, I can smell that vinegar right now. Let me cut these in half and we'll finish up with this. Put some fresh herbs in there and get this dish really going now. Look how much the sauce has changed, those tomatoes and that little bit of paste. What's happening here? Yeah, now we're talking. Do we want to add the rest of the vinegar? I think we're okay. I'm kind of looking at, depending on the size of the chicken. Of course, I have some delicious fresh tarragon. Yes, it makes a big difference with the fresh, and I'm not afraid to use it. May even add a little bit more. And of course, some fresh parsley. And here again, I'm not going to mince this parsley. So, some rough cut parsley. We'll even add some more on right before we serve it. But that's about it. That's all we need. Put this in here now. Give it one more mix. Remember, we don't want to really add any more salt because the vinegar does the job for us. So I already salted the chicken, added just a little bit more while it was cooking, and that's really about it. Make sure all that is all incorporated. Those tomatoes, I told you they're going to cook down. That's it right now. More red pepper, that's up to you, you know, spice-wise, herb-wise, but we're going to put a little fresh mint on it when it finishes. But in the meantime, I'm putting this in the oven, and I'm going to let it cook for about 30 minutes. That chicken is going to fall off the bone, and the flavor, oh, I cannot wait to experience it. And we're right out of the oven. Let's look at this. Oh, yeah, come on. I told you earlier about that smell. Now, let's put some fresh mint on here. And I'm not going to actually cut the mint. We're just going to strip it. Just put it right on top there. And, you know, you can't put enough mint on any dish, in my opinion. It's kind of like with basil, when I'm cooking with basil, same way. So let's just put that in there. And I may just go ahead and chop up a little more tarragon. Give it a little fresh leaves right on top. And there we have the Poulet à la Vinaigre, the chicken with vinegar, a recipe from Lyon, France that you could make in your kitchen. It's easy to prepare. It's absolutely delicious. All your friends and family will enjoy it. I know it's something that I will be proud to serve on my table. Brought to you by Hen House Markets.